So the purpose of evacuation drills in high schools is to give students, teachers, and staff members a clear understanding of the procedures and actions they are required to do and follow in case of an emergency happens, right? But when you're in high school and say there was an intruder, instead of using what you learned during the evacuation drills, you are literally just better off fighting him. The reason of why I say that is because in high school, the teachers literally just tell you to hide under your tables or behind your chairs, and it's basically just accepting your death instead of trying to escape. And if you know where he's coming from, say he's coming from the main gate, then you can just escape via the side entrances or the back entrance. Fire drills and bomb drills basically have the same procedures where the teachers and staff members herd all of the students onto the oval or an open area, and you literally just sit there for 30 minutes getting skin cancer. In the case of a real emergency, let's say a bomb situation, my advice to you is GTFO. So get out of the school as quickly as you can. Because who's to say that the bomber might come onto the oval where all of you are gathered and start throwing bombs at you? Say that this is a map of your school and your school receives a bomb threat. So the teachers and staff members gather all of the students onto the main oval. But if the bomber was at the scene and he comes through the main entrance, it's game over. If the teachers gather the students to the middle of the school and the bomber blocks the main escape path, you're basically gone. If he gets on the roof, then that's even worse. So my suggestion is that the school should have 3 or 4 designated meeting areas outside of its perimeter, so the teachers and students don't have to stay within the school grounds, which will be the most dangerous area in an emergency, because that makes more sense rather than staying in the school and accepting your doom.
Round 2. Fight!
What the fuck?
Do you ever get that feeling in class to randomly touch your surrounding? Maybe because you're bored? I know I do. I do this quite often actually, and I don't really know why. But usually I like to feel what's beneath my table. And when you're in high school, that doesn't really mix well. Say, I'm sitting in class, dying of boredom from listening to my teacher. I would most likely get this urge to feel what's beneath my table. And 99% of the time, I would probably accidentally touch gum. But a quick little disclaimer here, I do not like to touch chewed out gum. I feel like that's very unhygienic. But the fact is, I simply get bored and I want to touch my surrounding for no reason. So yeah. So say I accidentally touch the pieces of gum that's beneath my table, right? But instead of getting a table like this, I get a table like this. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but when I touch gum that's like that, it's like touching the most deadly disease on earth. So yeah, I might die from that even. So yeah, for the sake of my survival, don't place gum under tables.
What number comes between 2 and 4, Beetlejuice?
25.
And that's free quick maths.
What is going on here?
Most teachers in high school are reasonable and nice to most students, but there are some exceptions. There are those teachers who like to ask you questions you should know, but you don't know because you didn't revise. There are those who shout at you for breathing too loudly in the classroom. But I think we've all met this type of teacher before. Say, you're sitting in class, listening to your teacher. Then all of a sudden you feel this urge to go to the toilet. So you do what every single student does, which is to raise your hand and ask politely, "May I go to the bathroom?" But you're greeted with a common saying, "Why didn't you go at recess?" Well, if I wanted to go at recess, I would have gone. And if you say that to everyone, then do you know how much chaos that's going to cause? Imagine everybody going to the toilet at recess. That would actually just be stupid. You know that? "Why didn't you go at recess?" the teacher replies. "I just told you why I didn't want to go at recess, because I didn't have to go. But I have to go to the bathroom now." "Well, you should have gone at recess," the teacher replies back. "What do you mean by... You know what? No. I'm done, alright? I'm actually going to do it right here, right now. See?" Maths teachers in high school, there's only two options to them. You either love them or you hate them. Now, I personally quite like my maths teachers. They're kind and nice to me and they teach quite well. They explain stuff thoroughly, but sometimes their rules can be a bit stupid. Say, for an example, your maths teacher just finished teaching you indices and they give you a question, let's just say 4 squared, right? Now, that's quite simple. 4 squared just equals 16, so you write that, but then he or she marks it wrong. Why? Because you didn't show working out. Now, this is where it's quite confusing sometimes. It's a question that is so simple that you don't need working out, but sometimes you do get teachers that just demand working out no matter how simple the question is. So instead you need to write 4 squared equals 4 times 4 and then equals 16. Now, that logic sometimes to me just sound completely stupid, and that's just extra effort for the same result. And on such a simple question as well, so sometimes that just doesn't make sense to me at all.
2 plus 2 is 4.
I know that word limits are designed to test the student or professional's ability to summarize a topic, task, or argument while presenting all of the key points. And that's reasonable. But sometimes there are ridiculous limits for that word count. For example, summarize your entire day at school in 50 words, right? Now, 50 words is quite reasonable for summarizing a day. So I'll say, my day began when I woke up at 7:30 a.m., finished my necessary preparations for school, flew to school because I'm a cloud, attended my morning lessons, ate lunch by myself because I'm sometimes quite lonely, and I attended my afternoon classes, went home, finished my homework, and I went to sleep, right? But now the teacher says, the minimum word limit is 5,000. What kind of bullcrap is that? 5,000 words. What even is the purpose of that? Sure, I can make it more descriptive, but why? Eventually, I'll run out of things to tell. While flying to school, I saw a perfect sandwich on the cement road, which was strange. My maths teacher yelled at me for not showing working out, and I got really upset. See, it doesn't make sense. Eventually, you can't even use apostrophes just to make up with the word count. If I was the CEO of a company, and I ask for the company's annual revenue, and some guy brings me a 10,000 word report on it, I will be pissed. I want the numbers, not the descriptive words. And the most vital information, 90% of this isn't even relevant. So yeah, sometimes word limits, they just don't make sense to me.